Welcome to Suthichai Live English. My guest tonight, Dr. Jack Padungtin. He's in America, has been in America for a long, long time. And his background, his current interest mainly is about education. That's why I'm very interested in engaging him in a conversation about education reform, particularly from the viewpoint of someone who has been very passionate about education in his life in America. From Thailand's viewpoint, his experience could be very useful to guide us into thinking of various options of education reform. So good evening, Dr. Jack ครับสวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับคุณสุทธิชัยสวัสดีครับ
Yes. Let me start by asking about your life story, how you ended up in America and how in the past, 3 decades, you have become part of the American education system as well. Tell us briefly about your story, your life story.
Well, thank you for the question. And, just like any other Thai student, once you finish a bachelor degree in Thailand, I am a product of Thai education. I went to Badindecha High School. Yes. I am a proud alumni, a proud graduate of Ramkhamhaeng University. Okay. So when I finished the school, I thought that I needed to do something that maybe facing my fear at that time. I was so bad. As much as I was so proud of graduating from Ramkhamhaeng University, I also feel that I failed within the Thai education system during that time. So I kind of wanted to redeem myself, maybe coming to the US, learning the skills that I lacked at that time. So, and clearly that was English at that time. So I came here, wanted to master that, struggled throughout the time. And after that, seeing a lot of Thai students, helping them being in the education field. And I kind of wanted to volunteer myself and my time and devoted myself to advocate for Thai students, to advocate for any minority student coming to the US, and use education as a platform to equalize opportunity. I feel like that happened to me, and it happened to me in a very meaningful way. And I feel like anyone can do it if they wanted to fight for it. So that's kind of a very short story. I have been in education in various capacity, faculty members, teaching in management. The last 25 years might be more of an administrator. So I work in multiple institutions, from public university, private university, big and small. And my last assignment, which was 5 years, I served as the president of Pacific Oaks College in Pasadena, California.
Well, that journey was very impressive.
And painful.
And
painful.
From someone from Thailand who was very afraid that it was failing, especially in the English language, and ended up about 20 years later as the president of an American college. I mean, that was no easy task.
Well, thank you.
I mean, what was the main struggle? What were the main struggles along the way? What was the most difficult part of your life? And, trying to survive and then thrive, and at the same time trying to help foreign students adjust and also succeed.
Well, being minority here is not easy. Right? No matter how much we fight for equality, regardless, I think there are some subtle form of discrimination that happen, especially when you come into the country, you speak English not as perfect as a native speaker would be. So when people hear your accent, they discounted you. So that it's all by itself. It takes a lot for people to go past that, to perhaps understand that I don't think with accent. I speak with one, but I don't think with one. So, but on the surface, before that before people get past that, they actually form some sort of bias against you. And in higher education in particular, I see that more often, whether you are teaching in a classroom or whether you manage faculty, you manage the school. So that might be something that come more of a challenge. But regardless, you know, we are who we are, and we're proud of our heritage. I am a very clear, I have a very clear identity as a Thai person. So I never wanted to be a non-Thai in so many ways. So that might actually help me through all this year on no matter how challenging it was. I am a proud Thai person. I am so that's maybe how I overcome quite a lot of things over the years.
When you were really struggling, when you first went to the United States, how did you manage to overcome the fear and the uncertainty and the subtle discrimination?
You know, it's kind of hard. I always think this way, Kun Suthichai, whether it's right or wrong. I felt like there were so many Thai people study here in the US, and if they could graduate, I could too. That's maybe something that I drive myself, you know.
That took what the Americans would say, that took guts, right? Guts, right?
Maybe that's the words, right? But I always thought like there's so many friends that came here before me, and I'm not any less. And if they could graduate, then I could do it too. I was quite lucky, actually. I was maybe one of the first. I might be the first student for one of your former guests, Kru Kate. So I studied English with her, and it's give me some confidence from somebody who speak no English at all at the age of 24. So I have maybe like a 6 months before I came to the US. I studied with her, and for some reason she brainwashed me that I could do it. So it was surprising that I saw her on your show the other day.
Yeah, she was good, and a long time friend, because she was on one of our English language programs on TV, one of the few.
I am her product. That's maybe number one product.
That's great. That's great. And you know, you were listening to her talking to me about her fear about gecko. You know, she's still afraid of some things.
She wasn't Kru Kate then. She was PK for me. So she's always PK for me, right? So
yes. So what have you been doing for foreign students struggling in their first few months in America? What did you try to do to them, and how did your program work? I understand, you know, with friends like Kun David, you know, who has been my constant contact in America. What kind of services do you provide them?
You know, throughout my career, I started off in education as an advisor. So I would be the first person seeing students coming from Thailand. And sometimes I kind of almost conformed my, or they're coming in with the same pattern on what kind of fear they have. And it keep me wonder on why that happened. So every time when I see a Thai student coming in, arriving from the airport, I sense that they are lack of confidence. I sense that they're not mature enough. And that's the part that actually intrigued me, Kun Suthichai, because they graduate a master degree. I mean, they actually graduate with a bachelor degree. So most Thai students coming to the US, it's either for a master degree or a doctoral degree. We usually come to the US for graduate programs, meaning that after a bachelor degree, what happened? What make them less confident than American student who came to my school the very same way? So it's hard to say, and I keep thinking about it, and I keep wondering why this happened. Was it a formal education that we are not as good, that we don't have the result? Comparing to the American system, or was it the informal education? And that could be, and I'm sure there are multiple reasons on why. But for the sake of change that we could maybe improve or make, maybe we need to look at one component, one at a time. And I kind of think that maybe a formal education or the structure of formal education may have made our student less mature or less confident when they finish their bachelor degree.
You know, if we find the answer to your question, why is it a pattern for Thai students, despite the fact that they have graduated with bachelor's degree, still lacking in confidence in speaking a language that they have, in fact, not studied from day one? As soon as they entered their primary class, they started learning English.
Right.
And from then on, all the way to high school, all the way to university, 4 years in university, 10 years in primary and secondary education, they still were not confident in speaking English. So if you find the answer to that, we will get the key to education reform in Thailand.
I have to say something, Suthichai. That doesn't mean that they are less intelligent. That doesn't mean that they are less smart, but there are something during the process as we produce our graduate that make them less confident. It takes them a little bit longer time. It delay their maturity. They will get there, but it might take 5 years before they get there comparing to Americans.
I know they're not less intelligent.
I can attest to that.
They're not less smart, but the sad part is that they miss the opportunity in the first few years to catch up with their colleagues from other countries.
I can see that.
From Singapore, from Malaysia, even from Myanmar, the Philippines, they sort of, jump the parachute down and they can start running, hit the ground running. But our people, our students, when they hit the ground, it took them a long time before they could start running.
They're a little shy. A little shy.
A little shy. Okay, so if we were going to discuss how, from your private discovery, your experience with the foreign or Thai students there, if you were to start talking about education reform, do we have any clue?
I like to think it this way, Suthichai. When we compare education structure of America and Thailand, it look identical. We go 4 years for our bachelor degree, master and doctoral the same. Before that, before bachelor degree is 12 years. So looking at the structure itself, if you put it side by side, nothing different.
On paper. They're the same.
On paper,
more or less
it's the same. But there are some tiny detail during the undergraduate that may make the difference for how we produce the result in Thailand. Right? And how American might have a better advantage on educating their people. And I wanted to bring us into maybe something called educational mobility. This is very critical, that why American make it happen, and why or maybe we're doing that, but maybe we're not promoting that the way that American does it. So I wanted to bring us into how the difference of the two, right? So in the US, the first 2 years, regardless of your program, regardless of your degree, you study general education.
Yes.
And general education is common courses that everyone study, regardless of whether they would go to engineering school, business school, or dentistry school. Same thing. So during this time, I think the student kind of learn from their mistake, whether they make the right decision going to engineering school because they might not like engineering school. In Thailand, especially during my time, you have the entrance exam, you pick certain number of choices, and once you go into it, you locked in. Whether you wanted to be an MD and then you realize that you hate blood and you cannot see blood, then you stuck with it, right? So I know one friend, I know somebody whom, from my childhood, she's very smart, very intelligent, and I know that she could go into any university, any program, which she did.
Yeah.
So she went to a dentistry school in the top university in Thailand, finished it, 6 years, 5 years, I don't know how many.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she wound up being a flight attendant.
Oh.
And Thai student has that tendency on, as they first come to see me, while I was working in business school, I usually would ask on why do you want to study business? Why are you here in a business school? There are two common answers that I hated. Every time I hope that I don't hear those answers. And could Suthichai guess what are those answers that I commonly hear?
What to be an air steward or whatever, you know.
My parents want me to study this program.
Oh
my God, right? Or I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah.
That was the part where, how come you don't know? You earned your bachelor degree and you're here in the US. You are now going to a graduate school. When I hear that my parents want me to go into this program, and I kind of thought, okay, now we need to have a conversation. I start helping them when I hear that conversation. So
but you cannot blame them. You cannot blame them because this is the standard answer. And maybe sometimes it's not the real answer, but maybe a 50% correct. But they want to give you a safe answer.
Right.
So that they don't have to answer more questions from you. Why do you choose this and that? Well, when I say my parents wanted me to do this, you should know no more questions from you.
Done deal.
Right?
Yeah, it's done.
Right.
But so that question, it's either the parents actually tell them, or they don't want to talk to me, or they in fact do not know.
Yeah, in some cases, it's 100% true. And being a good son, a good daughter, you follow your parents' advice because they had been successful and their parents had told them to do this and they were successful. So what's wrong with following your parents' advice or instructions?
Right. So, and that's something very strange, right? So here in the US, it's a country of immigrants. So you have a lot of first-generation students, meaning that their parents did not go to college or earn a college degree. So in some of the schools that I work with, 60% of students are first-generation students. I know that they didn't have any advice from their parents on how to come to school. But when they come to school, they make mistakes themselves. And they have a chance to correct themselves. And that's why that may be one of the reasons why they are more confident. I'm going back into comparing to some of the Thai students, right? So some of the students, in fact, the parents are so well educated. They actually earn a graduate degree from overseas themselves. But how could they not advise the student to be that confident comparing to the Americans, a son and daughter of an immigrant who are first generation? Let me go back a little bit on to why I think people learn by mistake and how American system allow them to make mistake, but also give them an opportunity to correct it. So I was telling us that a person whom I know that went to the dentistry school, finished the school, maybe the parents make the parents proud. We heard a lot of, I finished the school and now I'm going to do whatever I want, but I'm doing this degree for you, right? So that happened more often than not, right? So so in college, the general education that I mentioned, it's give the student a lot of opportunity and an opportunity to take some sample classes. Some student eventually might realize that accounting is not for me. I wanted to go into an art school. So even though that was the first intention. But when it in fact happened, the educational mobility within the institution allowed them to move around. They can move from engineering school to business school, whatever that is, because the first 2 years are identical, right?
Right. And this does not happen in Thai universities, or at least up to recently. Now, I think some of the universities have realized that you just cannot force a student to go as a straight line without taking diversions or diverting to or pivoting to the fields they love or they more passionate about.
And that to me, Kun Suthichai, it is really a loss of investment, not only for the student themselves, but also for the country. Right? We spend a lot. I mean, as a country, we spend a lot of money educating our population as well. We hope that when they graduate, they would optimize the knowledge that they have, give it back to the country. But if they study the subject or the degree that they did not like, not only that they can contribute back, they cannot be the best in the field that they chose. And they need to actually maybe look for something else. To me, in some cases, it's a completely loss of investment, both for the individual and for the country. So here in the US, that is minimized because you can't. The student graduating from high school, 18 years old, regardless of Thai or American, some might not have any idea on what they wanted to do, right? And it might take them 2 years to find that. So mobility within the institution is critical. And here in the US, we talked last time about accreditation. That accreditation also come in such way that, yes, if you don't like the school too, if you don't like the university too, move to another place, take with you this general education. So now you have the student that not only study in the program that they love to study, they might study in the university that they love to be in. And then when they graduate, they are proud graduate. They are in the discipline. They drive to be the best in that discipline. And I think that's something that maybe set us apart. I'm a firm believer of people learning from their mistakes. And I think this is such a wonderful mistake for any student to have and also to correct themselves. I tell my Thai students as they come in, and truly this is my standards advice. I say, if you come to school in America, you need to make all sort of mistake. You pay to make mistake. And you pay a lot of money to make mistake. So do not shy away from making once or making a lot because you learn from it. So when we're looking back at the system, I kind of think that the system that allow mistake, but also allow opportunity to correct the mistake, is something that could be more effective, something that can produce a better result. That's just my view.
Yeah. So if you were made education minister, where would you start?
Well, that's a big if. that's a big if, Kun Suthichai.
We are desperate. Thailand is desperate for people with good experience in education to become education minister.
First of all, I think there's more qualified expert in Thailand that can do that, right? Second of all, I think to reform education, it takes a lot of conversations. It takes a lot of serious planning, collaboration, and it takes a lot of willingness. It takes the guts to really make the change. I wake up in the morning and try to consume some Thai news and keep up with the country, right? So the recent months or the recent years, I heard a lot about soft power.
Yes, of course.
And I am all for it, Kun Suthichai. I love the Thai soft power, right? Although I haven't heard how Americans talk about their soft power, right? But I hope that one day when I wake up, somebody talking about the real power, which is the power of human capital, which is the power of the next generation. I always wait that one day I perhaps listen to something else besides soft power, which I think we should talk about both, right? So coming back to the big if, if I would actually be part or can help giving back to my home country, what I would do, I perhaps would look at that particular part on, can we do that? Can we minimize the loss of investment, potential loss of investment? And how can we make our student so happy graduating in a degree that they wanted to graduate, and maybe graduating from a university that they wanted to graduate? I think that's all by itself worth it. And I'm going to add one more thing, if you don't mind. I'm so happy to actually hear that there are more and more international students coming to Thailand, whether they're coming from China, coming from Myanmar, Laos, Vietnam, whatever that is, because they must have trust something in our country, right?
Right.
And I feel that if we plan well, we could actually get more. Yep. I think Thailand is a safe country, affordable country with a lot of personnel that it is highly qualified, both Thai and foreigner who live in Thailand. So if we actually have a serious conversation trying to see the structure that is changed, let's say some private school wanted to pilot testing this general education, for example, and we have foreign students coming in and they are successful. There will be a proud alumni of a Thai university going back, and there will be more and more people coming in. But most of all, I think it helped our student, our population to be more confident, to actually contribute it back to the country during their prime time. So I hate the delay factor, right? So when you finish your school at the age of 22, 23, you have a lot of energy. Your creativity is perhaps at the best. Why do you delay that confidence? You need to, in fact, optimize, harvest that energy, right? So that is maybe if I would have a chance to talk to anyone or help anyone to make any changes, maybe it's time to look into conversation beyond soft power and focusing into our human capital.
So real power, human capital, education. And of course, we have a lot of, an increasing number of international schools in Thailand. And most of them are attended by wealthy children or children from wealthy families. Some people are afraid that the gap between our ordinary Thai students and those who go to international schools, the gap will widen. And that could be a problem.
I might have some problem. I have some recent observation. Observation, Kun Suthichai. The new generation of Thai students that are coming in here, they are more capable. They are less shy. Their English is much better. I think they watch internet, they watch the same TV. People have no accent today comparing to my generation. We learn and we try to overcome it. But the new generation, you'll be surprised on how capable they are. With that said, because they are so capable and prepare all by themselves, the structure might help even enhance them for more success. So I think we need to fix where we can, and they could take care of themselves in certain ways. So I'm happy to see new generation, because I feel like if they are moving to this direction, when they go back, the delay in their maturity, the delay in their getting to the prime time is much less, and that would be something that we should be putting our hope on them.
Yes. Well, I have met a number of Thai students in international schools, and as you said, they are more confident, and of course there are, teaching methods at all these schools is quite international. I mean, they go for critical thinking. They have classes that they tell students to do reading before they come to class. And the role of teachers has changed. They're just coaching. They're not giving lectures. But Thai students are still following the old curriculum, the old ways. So the gap is right there and quite scary, because you see this big widening gulf between the Thai students and Thai students in the international schools, Thai students in normal schools, Thai students in international schools. I've always been thinking, after talking to Thai students at international schools, how can we adapt the courses, the way the teaching is done, to ordinary schools in not only in Bangkok, but in the provinces?
I think we focus a lot on examination and tests, right? Thai students are so good. It's so good. I mean, give us any test, we can pass it, and we know exactly. We go to tutor and we can do it, right? But in another system, it's more of thinking, because when you go to work, when you actually run the country, there's no multiple choice. You don't run a country with multiple choices, right? So I think that method may need to take, that we need to maybe had a more serious conversation about that. Maybe a combination as we transition might be something that we could do, right? What I didn't want it to have happen is we are late into making the change, right? Because education takes time.
Yes.
Education is such a different commodity. You know, we can have another topic on education as commodity, on with, even though you have money, you cannot have education, or even though you have money, you wanted to put your work into it, you might not get the brand that you want. And when you get the brand that you want, you might not be as successful as you think that you should, right? That's another topic we have in another day. But I think it takes a conversation, and it needs to start. And I hope that our conversation today, our talk today, prompt somebody who have authority, who can make changes, to seriously talk about it, to seriously focusing on this real power. We need real power. As a country.
Power, human capital.
Yep.
But there are pros and cons about us being late. Looking at it positive, on the positive side, the fact that we are now in the digital age, all this, sequence of changes in the past would take many, many years before each step of the education improvement could be taken. Now, if we, sit back and work on the new technology, we could perhaps leapfrog.
I agree.
Without having to go through the normal routine, used to spend 10, 20 years. How do we seize this opportunity? I think we can leapfrog, but you need political will, you need visionaries who run our government, our education project. What do you think about AI's international internet in helping us speed up and leapfrog?
I really think that when we wanted to make that rapid change, it needs to be very holistic, right? It needs to be not only higher education. It might need to start from a very early on, how we help our students with critical thinking. This younger generation, elementary school students or a preschool student, this age, they would use technology, they would use AI, they would use everything that is available and readily equipped for them to study or to learn. But even so, how much they can trust all of those AI? I think AI is good and bad. I think AI can actually help us doing work, but we need to have I'm coming back with the term critical thinking. We cannot trust everything AI said, right? So if we actually educate our population from a very young age to higher education, how do you equip them with the literacy of how to master, how to be a smart user of technology?
Right.
So that you can actually go very fast if they know how to use technology smartly and correctly, not just for the sake of using it, because people tend to believe whatever the internet said.
I was at a BMA school, it's the กทม as the โรงเรียนเทศบาล normal average school. Students come here for free. There are a few hundred schools like this in Bangkok under the BMA, Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, กทม. And I was quite encouraged by the experiment with students using computer programs. And I talked to a few students and they became more enthusiastic about learning, and especially learning English, because they could actually listen to native speakers.
Right.
They could, access lessons that, in the few years ago could not have been possible. And this is an experiment in some of the classes only. But I see, signs of hope. If we can really, expand it and it becomes a national policy, I think that is one of the possible options for improvement.
Kun Suthichai, I also think one thing that we could not overlook this important fact, right? We need to educate the new generation, but we also need to educate teachers. Teachers need to be smarter to teach the new generation, right? So we cannot have a new generation learn by themselves without a proper guidance. So money putting into teachers or preparing teachers is so critical. I really hope that one day I wake up and I listen to that kind of news, that we help teachers this way, or we actually put a lot of money helping underserved student, people who have no money to go to school, to go to college, to do that. But really training teachers, training the trainer is what we need if we wanted to actually jumpstart from where we are.
Right. From this particular school that I went to, the teachers told me that they went to these training classes. Google provided, this kind of service because, they are interested in helping the countries improving education system through using their services. And, those who went to these classes were very encouraged and, they are excited about the new opportunities. So it's opening the door, giving them the opportunity, sending the teachers to all these classes. Of course, not 100% will be able to adjust. And the school administrators told me about 20, 30% will say, I'm too old, I would not be able to adjust. But, 50, 60% of the younger teachers would provide that ray of hope that we want to see. And they are working, and they're working hard, and they enjoy it. They were smiling and laughing, telling me, oh, I'm so happy my students are now excited about going into the YouTube programs, and now they are doing the homework and delivering the homework, submitting the homework online to me.
Teachers are working hard, and they're so passionate about doing that, right? I'm so glad that you sense that hope as you go in to see them. We need to really, they don't get enough credit or get enough pay most of the time, and we need to take care of them. In some country, teachers get paid in a very high level, and how do we get there? Or even if we wanted to start, we need to also have that conversation. So I'm here to support any teachers. I think we are who we are today, Kun Suthichai, because some of the good teachers that influence our life, and you still remember them.
I mean, my generation, we became what we are because of our teachers from grade one.
Most definitely. Right? And you remember their names forever. They're so impactful.
Yeah, and some of them were very tough on us, and we remember them in particular, right? We did not enjoy it at the time. No. We were, whispering. We were telling our friends, "Oh, I don't want to go to that class. The teacher's horrible. He is so strict, And
now we go back and thank them.
Yes. So thank you very much, Dr. Jack, for this conversation. I hope this is just the first part or the first episode of our discussions on education.
It is my most pleasure to be in your program.
Thank you. And I hope that we will continue this. Maybe we'll invite other people, other experts, other people who are interested in helping to, at least as citizens, we try to propose some kind of programs what could help, and each of us can contribute. You having this kind of experience and based in America, with this online world, you can do it as if you were still in Thailand, right?
The best opportunity, and I could not wait to have the conversation to really help my home country. I love, no matter what, I'm a product of Thailand, and this is the product of Thailand, would give back to the Thai education. So I can't wait for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,คุณสุทธิชัย สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ Talk to you in the next few weeks. Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you.